Queen City Gaming fans. So welcome back. As you know, guys, my name's Jordan here with Queen City Gaming. Folks, today, guys, FOMO Tactical Monday. All right, we're going to be looking at our Ossiarch Bonereapers Battletome. Okay, so guys, this is a book that came out a little bit ago. It features the newest death faction, which are the Ossiarch Bonereapers, which they're kind of the Stormcast Eternals of the death faction. They're the big bad that Nagash has been working on with the Soul Wars, to where these are like kind of constructs he built out of all different types of bone. And the different bone he uses affects kind of like how they play in game with their kind of like chapter traits, as I would call it. But so they're really cool, and then they have souls put into them. It's not like they're just one skeleton that gets brought back. No, these are actual constructs, kind of like the old Tomb Kings used to have. But let's take a look, guys, into some of the tactics. Now, this has been a very popular faction, so we're kind of going to go ahead and do these in a couple parts, kind of like we did with these Sigmar build. Let's do this. There we go. All right. So, we're going to start over here with the Allegiance abilities. Now, Ossiarch Bonereapers are different than kind of your standard standard armies. So, you have a role called Lords of the Ossiarch Empire. Nagash and Arkan become gain the Ossiarch Bonereaper keyword, right? But you cannot include any mercenaries in your army. Boo-hoo, you can't gain mercenaries. I mean, yes, the Necromancer does kind of help this army out a little bit, but not really required. So, pretty good. Now then, the Ossiarch Bonereaper Legions, you've got all the different types of legions that you can choose. You don't have to choose one of these, but you may. You've got the Mortis Praetorians, the Petrifex Elite, the Staliarch Lords, which are like the Horse Lords, the Ivory Host, the Null Mermaid, and the Crematorians, okay? Deathless Warriors, basically the same thing, within 6 inches of a Hecatos or character, right? So, and Hecatoses is really important because some of your units, their sergeants, are actually called Hecatoses. So the whole unit gets it when you're within 6 inches of the Mortec Hecatos, right? Or within 12 inches of a Bone Reaper hero. Basically roll a dice. On a 6, the wound or mortal wound is negated, kind of like that 6+ death save everybody gets. All right, ranks unbroken. You do not take battle shock tests by Ossiarch Bonereaper units, which is huge. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not a huge fan of the current battle shock tests, especially where you can just use a command point to pass anyone automatically. It kind of takes away some of the weaknesses that some destruction units have, like Gloomspite gets. You know, you take a 60-man unit of Stabbas, you kill 20 of them, and you think, oh great, like 12 of these are going to run away. No, they just use a command point and they're fine. But that's a different thing. Alrighty. So in addition, guys, Ossiarch Bonereapers have a new type of system to make up for them not being able to use command points. So they don't generate command points. They can't use command points. Instead, they gain what is called Relentless Discipline. Right? So every start of the turn, whether your opponent has the first turn or not, goes first in the turn, you roll your you generate your Relentless Discipline points. So you gain 1 for each hero. If you have Karatros, which is like the big Mortec, or what's it called? The big character leader of this faction, you gain 3 Relentless Discipline points. Liege will generate 2 Relentless Discipline points. All your other heroes will give you 1 every single turn. Right? And then you roll a dice for each friendly Ossiarch Bonereaper unit, and on a 6, you receive a Relentless Discipline point, which is pretty good. So the Liege is really worth it because you get 2 of these points. And it's also good to take some extra heroes, especially some of your smaller casters, because you get extra Relentless Discipline points a turn. And guys, these are super important. So these are how you activate your command abilities and some of your unit abilities. You have to spend a Relentless Discipline point to activate that ability. And guys, these go by fast. You really have to be careful about how you spend your Relentless Discipline points, because they generate at the start of your turn, and that's it. So if your opponent's turn is first and you use all your Relentless Discipline points there, then you won't have any for your turn, which can be terrible. Alright, so be very, very careful with how you spend these. You do have some ways to get some. There are some spells, and there are some command traits that let you gain some extras. So they also have Unstoppable Advance. It's just like a general ability any unit can use as long as you have a Hekatos or an Ossiarch Bonereaper hero close by. You basically add 3 inches to that unit's move characteristics in that phase. It can still run or charge if it does not run. So it kind of helps add some movement. It does cost you 1 Relentless Discipline point, which isn't bad. But you have to be really careful with your Relentless Discipline points and use them wisely and kind of pre-plan how you use them. You don't want to blow all of them on your opponent's turn and then you have none to hit back with. Or you don't want to blow all of them during your turn and then you have none to activate your defensive abilities later. So we're going to do these. We're going to do the command traits and then the artifacts of power, as well as the spell lores, and go over the and we'll stop there for today, guys. And then we'll do another one of these and just kind of keep going in the series. So the first set is for your Liege Cavalos. You kind of have 3, all right, which are the first 3. Or actually, it's really just the first 2 that are the same in both of these tables. You have one that's kind of for your casters and then one that's for your Liege Cavalos. And the first one is you gain 1 additional Relentless Discipline point at the start of the battle round if this general is on the battlefield. Not bad, but not... There's some better ones, because there are other ways to kind of do that. The Deathless Warrior's battle trait, it negates a wound or mortal wound located to this general on a roll of 5 or 6. Not too bad. So those 2 can also be taken by the Mortisons, so we'll skip those later. But Dark Acolyte, the general becomes a wizard and knows 1 spell from the Lord of Mortisons. They can attempt to cast 1 spell in that hero phase and attempt to unbind 1 spell in the enemy hero phase. That's actually pretty good. I kind of like that. I want to try it out some. You have Peerless Warrior. The unmodified wound roll for an attack made with a melee weapon is a 6 and inflicts 1 mortal wound in addition to any normal damage, which is really great. Alrighty. Hatred of the Living, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by the general and their mount unless the target has the death keyword. It's not bad, but a lot of units, especially around me, a lot of players are playing death, so it doesn't really help too much. Alright, Life Stealer, at the end of the combat phase, if an enemy model were slain by wounds inflicted by this general in the combat phase, you can heal D3 wounds located to the general. That is fantastic. So, unlike other death armies, it's kind of hard to regain wounds, especially on your heroes. So that's a really good ability to have, and this guy is kind of a tank in combat. Ooh, Mike, get off there. Alright, kind of a tank in combat, so usually if he gets in there, especially in the right unit, he can kill an enemy really easily. So we go into the Mortison qualities. So the first 2 are the same: Ancient Knowledge, additional Relentless Discipline, Immortal Ruler, Ignore Wounds. So then they have Dire Ultimatum. Subtract 2 from Bravery characteristics from enemy units while they were within 12 inches of this general. This is awful. I'm just being honest with you. My problem with Battle Shock right now is it's too impassable because of the command trait, where you just spend a command point and they automatically pass. Not good. And most of your Mortisons, you're going to kind of hide them back behind your units, so that doesn't really help that much. Okay. All right. Gravesand Bones knows 1 extra spell from the lore of Mortisons. Really good. All right. Kind of, especially with your Soul Mason, you can then cast 3 spells. So that's a pretty good ability. All right. Oathbreaker Curse. Roll a dice each time your opponent receives a command point while this general is on the battlefield. On a 6, the command point is lost. It's a great ability, but it's so unpredictable. It's only on a 6. Alright. So, not the best. Now, this can kind of play a little bit with like Gloomspite, to where they generate so many command points where you're going to be rolling a lot. But overall, not the bestest ability. Alright. Soul Energy, you can reroll casting, dispels, and unbinding rolls for this general. If you do so, the general suffers 1 mortal wound after the effects of the spell are carried out. That's great if you didn't suffer a wound every single time. Usually the characters that can use these command traits don't have a lot of wounds, so that's not really the best thing to do. I mean, yes, it could help in dire circumstances, but I just don't, I'm not set on this. My favorite out of all of these is the Grave Sand Bones, where you cast an additional spell, or an extra spell from the lore. Alright, pretty good. Alright, guys, so the artifacts of power, starting with the ones for the Leech Kabalos. So the Mind Blade, basically you, when you attack in combat, the unmodified hit roll for an attack that targets a hero is a 6. Your opponent loses 1 command point. That's kind of hilarious. And would kind of be one of those fun relics to play around with. I don't think you're going to see it on a lot of tournament lists, but still pretty neat. Alright. Lordly Phylactery. Once per battle, at the start of any phase, the bearer can use this artifact. If they do so, you receive D3 Relentless Discipline points. It's not bad, but the only problem is it's once per battle. So I guess if you really, really have to, because Ossiarch Bonereapers, when they start losing characters, their hitting power goes down a lot and their defensive power goes down a lot. So this could be really good if you've got an extra artifact or two and you use it later in the game, especially after your opponents have taken out some of your heroes, which wouldn't be bad. All right. Scroll of Command, subtract 2 from bravery characteristics of enemy units while they are within 6 inches of the bearer. Yeah, not same thing. -2 bravery, not that great, and it's within 6 inches, so you pretty much are going to be in combat with them at that point. Alright, Gravesand Boneplate. At the end of the combat phase, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches of the bearer. On a 4-up, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Not the best, because it's only per unit, it's not per mini. So you could do a couple mortal wounds, but not a ton. Alright, Marrow Pact. Once per battle in your hero phase. That sounds like Marrowwhack. Marrow Pact. Alright. Once per battle in your hero phase, pick 1 enemy unit within range 6 of the bearer that is visible to them. Roll a dice. On a 3-up, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, and you can heal 1 wound associated to the bearer for each mortal wound that is inflicted and not negated. It's not bad. So again though, it's only once per battle. I'm not a huge fan of once per battle abilities, but this could do some decent woundage to someone. You know, you could use that to kind of take the last wound or 2 off another hero, and then you could heal a wound, but it is in the hero phase, so not the best. The only time I could really see this being really good is if you're like Kabalos is locked in with a unit and they've only got 1 or 2 wounds left. You could break this, that way they're free to move in the movement phase, but you could also do the same thing with some spells. So, Helms of the Ordained. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by friendly Ossiarch Bonereaper units and their mounts while they are wholly within 12 inches of the bearer. That's great. Put him in a big old unit of Kabalos, and then they use their ability. It could cause a lot of mortal wounds that way. But overall, great rule, guys. Okay. So, Tools of the Bone Shaper. Now, they only gain 3. So, the Artisan's Key, before you use the Bearer's Bone Shaper ability, roll a dice. On a 4-up, you can either pick 2 units within 6 inches of the bearer to be affected by the Bone Shaper ability instead of 1, or you can pick 1 unit within 6 inches of the bearer to be affected by the Bone Shaper ability twice. This isn't bad, and it's a good second warlord trait or command ability you can get. So this affects their healing ability, so you can use it twice, which isn't bad. But it is a dice roll, but still it can be kind of good to help bring back units, especially now that you can be especially now you can affect a unit twice. So essentially, if you had 2 Bone Shapers, you could use their abilities 3 times. So that's a bunch of models coming back. Alright, Load of Saturation. At the start of your hero phase, pick 1 friendly Bone Shape or Ossiarch Bonereaper unit other than the bearer that's within 1 inches of them. Until your next hero phase, the Deathless Warrior's battle trait negates a wound or mortal wound located to the unit on a 5 or 6. This isn't bad, especially if you're doing like a large block of the oh god, what are their names? Hold on, let me pull their names up. Mortrek Guard, that's it. Not the Immortus Guard. Yeah, the Mortrek Guard. these guys. That would actually not be bad on them. Alright, and then the crafter gems in your hero phase, you can heal up to 3 wounds located to the bear. Once the total number of wounds in this artifact has been used to heal during the battle equals 3, it cannot be used for the rest of the battle. So it's basically, it's not one-time use, but it's max 3 heal wounds, which it's not bad, but not my first choice. Okay. Let's see here, treasures of the Soul Mason. So the Chicken Walker guy. So the Gothazar Katouche, add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly death units, wholly within 9 inches of the bear. That target does not have the death keyword. Again, it's weird that you don't affect other death units, but whatever. not amazing, but still decent. Soul Reservoir, add 2 to the casting rolls of the bear. However, if the casting roll for the bear is an unmodified 10+, the artifact cannot be used again for the rest of the battle. It's pretty good. I like it, but you do have the ability to break it, which isn't good. Alright, Throne of the Denzet. So add 2 to the bear's wound characteristics and add 2 to the attack characteristic of the Ossiarch Clothes and Bonereapers mount. Basically, you get better chicken leg walker. Alright, so it's actually, it's a lot of survivability. It's not bad. I could see this being taken later on. The Soul Mason is actually really key to a lot of armies right now. So adding that extra wounds makes him a little bit more stay. All right. So the Soul Mason, this is the Reaper. So Lumiscythe, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target the bear. In addition, add 1 to the casting rolls for the bear when they attempt to cast Soul Blast, Pale of Doom, and any of the spells from the Lore of Mortisans. Not bad. I kind of like it, but I'm not going to lie to you, I don't take the Soul Reaper. He's not really my favorite. Alright, Vial of the Binding. Once per battle in your hero phase, pick 1 enemy unit model within 12 inches of the bear that is visible to them and roll a dice. If the roll is equal to or greater than the model's wound characteristic, the enemy model is slain. Not bad, but again, it's once per battle, so if you flub your roll, you're just done. Alright, Guardian Reeve Soul. The Deathless Warrior's battle trait negates a wound or mortal wound located to the bear on a roll of a 5+ instead of a 6. Instead of rolling the dice, you can say that the bear will shatter this artifact. If you do so, the wound or mortal wound is negated without a dice being rolled, but this artifact cannot be used again for the rest of the battle. The bear on a roll. It's not bad. There are ways to actually... well, you can't really increase it. There are other ways to do this without taking a... Yeah, there are other ways to do this that are better. Especially because, I mean, yes, you can block 1 wound or mortal wound, but then you don't get this anymore. So it's okay. It's not amazing. Alright, so into the spell lores. So this has been FAQ'd, so you can choose or roll for any of these spells for each Mortison in the Ossiarch Bonereaper army. Nagash and Ark can know all the spells from the lore, as well as the other named spellcaster that came in the Feast of Bone box. He can also take one of these. Okay, so the first spell is Arcane Command. Has a casting value of 5. You receive D3 discipline, relentless discipline points. This is fantastic, and if you take Nagash, you should be casting it every single turn, because those extra points are really, really good value. But at the same time, if your opponent dispels this, I hope you weren't planning on getting those points. Or if you roll 1, I hope you weren't hoping to get 3. Alright, so really good spell, but can be a little random. Sorry. So empowered Nadendrite weapons. Basically, all your Bonereaper units have like the Nadendrite weapon rule, to where if they roll a 6, they get additional hits. This spell is cast on a 5. You pick 1 friendly unit within 24 inches. It has to be wholly within 24 inches. Right? And you score 2 hits on a 5+ instead of a 4, or 4+ instead of a 6 for charging Cavalos Death Riders, which is really good. I kind of like this on the Leech Cavalos, who could take the spell through his command ability. Pretty good little combo right there. Alright, Protection of Nagash. Protection of Nagash is a casting value of 6. Is successfully cast. Roll a dice for each time a wounded mortal wound is located to the caster. On a 5+, that wounded mortal wound is negated. If any wound or mortal wounds are located to this caster and not negated, the caster is not slain, remove them from the battlefield after all wounds or mortal wounds have been located, then set them up anywhere on the enemy on the battlefield more than 9 inches from any enemy units. It's basically I'm a I'm a try not to get hit, and if I do get hit, I teleport you away. So interesting little spell. Really good on Nagash because he can kind of bamp himself out of some sticky situations. So Reinforced Battle Shields. Reinforced Battle Shields has a casting value of 6. You pick one friendly Ossiarch Bonereaper units with shields or an Dendrite Battle Shields. So it's either the guard or the big like skeleton guys with the big shields. Wholly within 24 until the start of your next hero phase. Roll a dice each time you locate a wound or mortal wound to that unit. On a 5+, that wound or mortal wound is negated. This can be really big on some of your units because you can make just a super tanky unit with roll after roll, like save roll after save roll after save roll. All right. So Drain Vitality has casting value of 6. Pick one enemy unit within 18 inches of the caster. It is visible to them. Until your next hero phase, re-roll unmodified hit rolls of 6 for attacks made by that unit, and re-roll unmodified save rolls of 6 that target that unit. This is pretty good, especially re-rolling 6. It's kind of like in the old edition where if units got the -1 to hit, it got rid of their hit on 6 abilities. This really helps with that, especially with Nagash. Right? You can use this ability and make it to where things like Retributors have to re-roll those 6s so you get less mortal wounds put on you. Overall, really great. Alright, and then Mortal Contract has a casting value of 7. Pick one enemy unit within 18 inches of the caster that is visible to them. For the rest of the battle, roll a dice at the end of each movement phase, which any attacks made by that unit inflict any damage on a friendly Bonereaper unit. On a 3+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. You cannot pick the same unit to be affected by this spell more than once per hero phase. It's okay. It's not great. It could do some residual damage over time, like if you did that on a shooting unit, especially like the Judicators from Stormcast or like Handgunners from Cities of Sigmar. You're going to do a lot of residual damage onto them every turn, but the thing is it has an 18-inch range, so it's not that far. So it's kind of situational. It's not bad, but it's not my favorite as well. Alright, guys, so we're going to stop here, and we are going to come back and look at all of the different kind of factions within the Ossiarch Bonereapers here in a little bit, and then go into War Scroll cards and things like that. Alright, guys, thank you so much for dropping by at FOMO Tactical Monday. This is Queen City Gaming, signing out. Bye, folks! Hey, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you so much for watching today. Remember to come on back, guys, for FOMO Tactical Monday, where we go over book reviews, tactics, recent tournaments. Then we also have Whatever Wednesday, where I post whatever I want. Alright, and Saturday is Sigmar Saturday, where we post videos about the Age of Sigmar and the wonderful game that it is. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great videos. Queen City Gaming, signing out.